What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, want to talk about Helldivers 2. While it hasn't been all smooth sailing for the game today, and we'll talk about that a little, I mainly want to talk about the record that it's setting, and this has been something that it's been climbing to all day. It was at like the 50K mark, and then it finally passed God of War to become number one about 20 minutes ago. From the time I'm recording this, it'll come out a little later for you guys. And you know what? This is a Thursday night. Friday, Saturday, normally, as we've seen with Baldur's Gate, Hogwarts Legacy, Palworld actually kept going, but normally these games, the Friday into Saturday, those are the big ones. The peak, I think, for a game like Helldivers would probably actually come midday Saturday. So right now, it's sitting at 74,144. Now, again, that's when I'm recording this. It might hit closer to 80 by the time this video goes live, and when all's said and done, when it gets to Friday, Saturday, this game might get close, if not hit 100K. Now, that's asking a lot, and maybe it doesn't do that. Maybe it maxes out at 75, 76. But the point is, and the thing I want to talk about, like, this is the biggest one. This is actually massive. And actually, I was looking at this tweet. Okami is the one who, pointed out the number. And then his follow-up tweet said, "Will be interesting to see how Sony handles day-and-date releases in the future. The game got little marketing, comes from a small team, and is a sequel to a relatively niche title, but it still outperformed huge AAA games and Sony's entire PC portfolio. Pretty shocking." Now, I agree with some of that. Did it get little marketing? I feel like it got kind of what the game needed to get. I don't know if I'm explaining that in the best way. It definitely does come from a smaller team, and definitely I would agree as a sequel to a relatively niche title. I keep in all these Helldivers videos I've made, I keep saying, the first one comes out. I think it did well for what it was, but it never set the world on fire. It still had a community, even to this day, even like a week ago. It still had a pretty good community. Is it the switch from first person to third? But it was a prediction of mine that switching the camera angle and just the game it is, like this high octane action, Starship Troopery, you're playing with other people, right? Like just the kind of thing it is. And then I like top-down. I think top-down is a very good genre of games, okay, or type of game. And moving it to third, like, I'm fine with it. And I think it actually works better for a game. And I think it opens it up. I think a third-person game like this is probably better for, like, mainstream appeal than top-down, even though I actually don't even know. Maybe I prefer top-down more. I haven't played Helldivers 2 yet. I want to play it either tonight or tomorrow. But I expect to like it quite a bit. But, they're great points that, he makes. Like, what do you do with this info, right? Because a couple things you could do. You could buy the studio. So, like, this is like a first-party-ish thing, but not, like, Sony's publishing it. Depends on how you define first-party, but, like, they're not their studio. So, like, one thing they could do is buy them, because if this is actually going to work, because, the numbers right now are great, and this is a good sign, but this is also a live service game. This is really the first PlayStation live service. You had The Last of Us falling apart and all that jazz, but this is the first one. And you know what? Well, if you don't count like Foam Stars, I guess, right? Maybe you can count, but Foam Stars is Square Enix. I know, PlayStation exclusivity and PlayStation Plus, but I've looked at Helldivers for a long time, kind of as being the first one. So, like, do you buy them? Do you double down on this stuff? Which, I'm generally against, live service. I think it's going to work with Helldivers, and I've never really had a problem with it here. But, I'm not the biggest live service guy. Does this make Sony do it more? But, when he mentions God of War and outperforming the huge AAA games, the day and date thing, PS5 and then, PC, that is something to think about. And that's maybe the biggest, like, thing that can get impacted by this. Where, yeah, maybe you buy them. Maybe, some other things happen because of this. But the idea of, well, do they really take a hard look and say, at least for some of these games, let's put them out the same day? Now, you can get into the negatives a little bit, because the negatives are the game is not performing all that well, not from sales and stuff, but, in terms of reviews and a lot of different things that are going on. The biggest thing is kind of the bugs and the glitches and all these updates that they're kind of doing on the fly, mainly, at least what I've seen on PC. So, you have it be out both simultaneously. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad idea. In fact, I actually think that is the right move, okay? If you want my personal opinion, I think that's the right thing to do. But it does come with its drawbacks, right? Like, it seems like when that happens, or at least in this situation, that the PC version is going to suffer. At least now, I don't even know. Maybe the PlayStation version also suffered, but from what I've seen, at least, the PC version has suffered, and, it's resulted in, kind of mixed reviews, like it's sitting at mixed. Now, do reviews mean everything? No. Are people reviewing it badly probably just because of these things? Yes. At the same time, I do think it's valid. You buy the game, you paid for it, and then if you can't really play it because it's a, always online kind of thing, and then the game goes down or it's not working properly, like, okay, I actually would understand why you would, rate it low. But that is one thing to think about. I do think it's the right move long term. I wonder if Helldivers would actually push them to do it, but it does come with drawbacks. It doesn't have to be drawbacks. Ultimately, you just have to kind of focus on it more, right? You got to be ready. If a future game comes out on PlayStation and PC, you got to make sure, like, this situation, I mean, it happens for, like, all of these games. It's not really Helldivers exclusive, but I've never been a fan. I've always kind of spoken out against it, and it's no different even for a game that I respect, in Helldivers and now Helldivers 2. These kind of things shouldn't happen. I would say shouldn't happen, and they do all the time. Suicide Squad, and this is just in the last week, Suicide Squad and Helldivers. So, honestly, huge congrats. I did not think this would happen. You can go back, though, weeks, if not months, and I did say, like, very positive things. I predicted very positive things for this game. I didn't think it'd be the biggest one. I didn't think it'd beat God of War and Uncharted and all these games on PC. Like, this is the biggest one, bigger than their biggest, like Spider-Man. All these franchises that, they come years down the line. Years down the line, they move to PC. And so maybe it was obvious that a game like this could beat it, but I don't think it was like a for sure thing. But you know what? It did it. I think it deserves it. And I think it's something that now you kind of have to seriously look at for no other reason beyond, okay, is this something that we should be doing with more of our games? There's no way they do it for certain games, like, say, Wolverine, right? When Wolverine, or Ghost of Tsushima 2, when these games come out, they're coming out on PlayStation, they'll come on PC like 6 to 12 months later. But a game like Helldivers, any game that's live service, any game that's like if The Last of Us multiplayer did come out, and it wasn't canceled, you should do it. Like, immediately, you should put it on both day one, because it just opens you up to the most players, right? Like, if you're playing on PlayStation, you have all the PC players now at your disposal to play with, right? Versus, and the reason I say it like that, versus if you just get on PS5. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.